My vids are for those who are true to the hip hop culture, those who are of the hip hop culture, its true representatives. If we gave birth to this culture, then we can rightfully say that it is ours. Yes, we can share our culture with you. But if we birthed it, we should have the first say so in regards to our culture, the hip hop culture that is. And to my people, don't let the majority intimidate you and make you hold back your opinion. Whites may make up 70% of YouTubers and the American population, but they don't represent the majority within the true hip hop culture, those who truly should be the ones speaking on this.
I want you to make some motherfucking noise for the greatest of all time, EMINEM. So what you got on? Thank you.
To be successful nowadays, you don't have to be frivolous.
I hated Arrested Development. I was the wackest rap.
Peace.
You're just so slave.
All my people say.
Black Ice, Ice-T, Silver the Navigator, fuck Soulja Boy, eat a dick. This nigga single-handedly killed hip-hop. Who would have ever thought that one of the greatest rappers of all time would be a white cat?
black routines were systematically scrutinized by white producers looking for something hot. And no sooner had a black person created something new than it was preempted by the whites, who claimed it as their own. To add insult to injury, if a white character came upon a group of blacks doing their routine, the white person immediately took stage center and began to teach them how to correctly execute what had been stolen from them in the first place.
Why, it's Gabriel!
As far as Hollywood was concerned, anything a black person can do, even if he'd been doing it since birth, could be done better by a white person in 3 seconds. Not only that, blacks were required to stand around grinning and shaking their kinky heads in amazement. Lord of mercy, look a little master, look a little missy.
Look at that gallon sugar.
Okay, I'm about to ruffle some feathers here. I'm going to talk about your boy EMINEM, okay? Can I ever say that he can't rhyme, he can't MC? Absolutely not. I cannot say that, whether I agree with his lyrics or not, you know. I got to give credit where credit is due. You know, he's very skilled. He had a hard knock life, and that came out, you know, and he got all of that, pushed a lot of that out through his writings, his music, you know, and it helped him in building his skills. But, however,
Okay, come here, little kitty, on my lap. Guess who's back with a brand new rap? And I don't mean rap as in a new case of child investigation accusation. No worries, Papa's got a brand new bag of toys. What else could I possibly do to make noise? I done touched on everything but little boys. Bend down, touch your toes, and just glide up the center of the dance floor. Like TP for my bunghole, and it's cool if you let one go. Nobody's gonna know who'd hear it. Oops, I mean girl, 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 girl. Girl, you know you're my world. Alright, now lose it. Just lose it. Go crazy.
Well, cooking up controversy for Christmas is, you guessed it, the Slim Shady. After taking stabs at the King of Pop and Commander-in-Chief, you might call him the Grinch who stole Christmas, but got in return the #1 spot on the charts.
That's not a stab at Michael, that's just a metaphor, I'm just psycho.
Maybe so, but Michael Jackson isn't drinking to the toast M proposed in his video, Just Lose It. MJ sounded off on Steve Harvey's radio show.
I'm very, very angry at his depiction of me. I thought it was demeaning, it was disrespectful.
Right.
It was just this terrible thing to do.
And Black Entertainment Television agreed, soon pulling the video from its rotation, a decision that had Hollywood talking.
I like EMINEM a lot. At a certain point, you kind of say, okay, you can be controversial, and then you can be respectful. And then you can be disrespectful.
It's a funny video. EMINEM seems to be extremely creative. He does a lot of different things, but, you know, it sells records, and it's social commentary. And it's art.
And MJ isn't alone in categorizing EMINEM as disrespectful to the urban community. Newsman Geraldo Rivera called his new video lazy racism.
We've spoken about it. I think that you should. Why not?
Speak about what?
About EMINEM and this disrespect that he showed you.
I'm gonna make you dance, get your chance, yeah. bad boy, shake that thing. Oops, I mean girl, girl, you know you're my world. Alright, now lose it.
Stevie Wonder said that he was piling on and how really rude it was for someone who made his money from the community, as Eminem has, to now diss the community in a sense, and a racist, and I've said it, very bold-faced, bigoted kind of presentation. Tell us how that hurt you and how you're feeling about it now.
I've never met Mr. Eminem, and to have him, I've always admired him, and to have him do something like that was pretty painful as an artist to another artist. And it's sad because, well, I think what Stevie Wonder said is true. And I just don't want to say too much more than that. But he should be ashamed of himself, what he's doing. Stevie said he's bull***, is what he said.
Stevie did, and
he used the word.
He is bull***.
That's what he said. I mean, I'm not saying it was Stevie said it. And Stevie is he's amazing. He's one of the sweetest men in the world. You know,
so when Stevie said that, did you feel a tremendous sense of a reassurance of brotherly love there?
Yes, I love Stevie Wonder. To me, he's a musical prophet, and I always love him. But a lot of people respect Stevie, and he's a very strong entity in this medium, in this business. And when he speaks, people listen. And it was wrong of Eminem to do what he did. I've been an artist most of my life doing what I do, and I've never attacked another fellow artist. Great artists don't do that. You know, you don't have to do that.
I mentioned Janet's, fiasco and the exaggerated response to it. Once again, do you think he only did it because he knew he could get away with it because you're Michael Jackson?
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt, really. It's silly. It's kind of elementary. But I hope he's having fun.
It's like a poo-poo joke.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it still hurts your feelings, and you don't want your kids to see it.
Oh, God, I would hate it if they saw it. I would hate that.
Do you want them to know that?
To know about it? No.
Yeah.
Say, do you want to collaborate with, man? You think you might hook up Lauryn Hill, KRS-One, Public Enemy, any of those
First
people?
word you said was a dirty word to me.
Really, Lauryn?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of stuff about her and how she is, and how she is towards white people, and I've heard a lot of things that, she's racist, she's this and that, and I can't prove it, but I've heard a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding that. So if it's like that, I don't even want to get down like that.
No, listen, so I was raving about your record and everything,
Uh-huh.
And then this guy calls up and he goes, "Hey, Howard, man, I'm a disc jockey, and I'm telling you, I saw Lauryn on MTV.
Okay.
And she was screaming about how she would hope," this was the quote he said, "that no white people would ever buy her record."
I think the quote was, she would rather starve?
Yeah, starve. She would rather have her family, her children starve than have white people buy her record.
Now,
so then I got all bummed out, and I was like, oh, man, why does it have to get racial? What's that all?
Isn't that sound retarded?
I mean, it does. Did you say that?
We had a lot of people calling saying
No,
that.
I think that it was probably taken out of context. What I was saying is that I make my music for young black youth because I'm a young black youth myself, and there's a message in my songs.
Yes.
And that's for people who look and come from the same areas that I do. That doesn't mean that my music isn't universal.
So you don't mind white people? So you never said, I don't want white people to buy my music?
I mean, I'm not stupid. You know, I'm a musician, but I like to consider myself a businesswoman.
I mean, your manager's a white guy, right?
Yeah, he is.
Right. You have no
It was
problem.
something along the lines that they asked us, how does it feel to be like a triple platinum recording artist? And I said that it was a nice feeling. I appreciate the sales, but that's not why I make my music. There are deeper meanings and deeper messages behind every rap and every song and everything.
Right.
But I mean, it's not just to go triple platinum, and nor was I going to change my format just because I was triple platinum. It's like a means to,
they saw you going too high and they wanted to drop it down.
What are you doing in Norway?
Hold on, Sean. Now listen, we've been around for a long time. I've been with the Fugees for 7 years.
Really?
And I've never heard any of these rumors along the whole entire 7 years.
Until you
But now that we've become successful, all of a sudden I'm in Norway and I hear I've been shot, I'm a lesbian, and now I'm a white racist baby killer.
The group said that they don't mind if only black people buy their music.
Right. Well, that's a little different than saying we only want black people to buy our music.
That's not the same thing.
That's a little different.
You're excluding white people.
No,
No, what she said is...
Hold on for a second. Can I say this real quick?
Yeah.
What happens is that a lot of times record companies only, equate you with being successful when you make crossover success.
That's true.
What I mean? What we're saying is that we're happy to sell 500,000, a million records in the black community, and cool. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not necessarily, we don't have to be spread all over the pop chart, because we make music and we feel music, and we're motivated by young kids who come from the communities that we come from and have the same experiences that we do.
She's saying she got into...
But you gotta be responsible, because...
No, wait a second. If she said she's being responsible...
And to answer your question, without even getting into that, cause all of that is that's her business. Everybody's got their preferences. If she don't like white people, whatever. That's her business. But I'm not necessarily collaboration type MC. The first word you said was a dirty word to me.
Really, Lauren?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of stuff about her and how she is, and how she is towards white people, and I've heard a lot of things that she's racist, she's this and that, and I can't prove it.
Kick a hyperspheric every time I run up on a track. I'm not whack. You have to step back, cause if you don't, I'll prove that I'm the Mac. Every time I kick the lyric, tune it to Q95. Yo, do you find me live? If you don't, then that's alright, cause I just grabbed the microphone and I just gotta get so hyper. Speaking of hypertone, and so many times I might get thrown. And here's the place where I like to roam. And all the girls that I like to bone have the big butts. No, they don't, cause I don't like that nigga shit. I just here to make a bigger hit. When I be kicking the hypest, dopest rhymes, just say that Eminem is the best MC in of all times. Yeah. Cause I don't like that nigga shit. I just here to make a bigger hit.
Blacks and whites sometimes mix, but black girls only want your money cause of dumb chicks. So I'ma say like this: don't date a black girl, take it as a diss. If you want, but if you don't, I'ma tell you like this: I surely won't. Never date a black girl because blacks only want your money, and that shit ain't funny. So I'ma say, look, honey, why do you do this? You step up to me like you were Brutus. Then you try to grab my spit because it's green and that's cash. So get out of here, cause I don't need your ass. I've said that before, but that's okay because like I said, you're a whore. Black girls and white girls just don't mix because black girls are dumb and white girls are good chicks. White girls are good, I like white girls. I like white girls all over the world. White girls are fine and they blow my mind, and that's why I'm here now telling you this rhyme. Because black girls, I really don't like, we don't mix. It's like riding a bike when you're pedaling hard, uphill both ways. It's kinda hard, and that's why I say to you, I'm giving you a little advice. Don't date a black girl. If you do it once, you won't do it twice. You won't ever do it again because I'll take your money, and that ain't funny. So I'ma say, look, honey, I've already said that before, but like I said again, you're nothing but a big whore. So when Mike gets on the bass line, that's okay, cause we will not just waste time. I'll get straight to the point. Black girls are bitches. That's why I'ma tell you, you better pull up your bridges, cause all that cash is making your ass drag from the boyfriend you get. And that's pretty bad. I mean, that's pretty sad when you're dating a black guy and then you turn around and fuck another big black guy. Now that's pretty wrong, but you're just skanking. But that's okay because you need a goddamn spanking. From me, the funky Eminem, I'm busting rhymes and I'm swallowing phlegm.
In the source's cover story on Eminem titled Understanding Marshall Mathers' Past, His Life Before the Black Community Accepted Him, Editor-in-Chief Kim Osorio seeks an understanding on how a rapper of his caliber could have something like the racist recording hidden in his closet. The source's chief brand executive, Raymond Scott, aka Ray Benzino, aka rapper Benzino, became the ultimate enemy of Eminem in many of his stands. and he was the one who initially set out to expose Eminem in the Source magazine. But of course, many including Eminem just wrote him off as being a hater. Eminem explained that he has had a long-standing beef with Benzino, who has repeatedly ridiculed him in his lyrics, referring to him as 2003 Vanilla Ice and the rap Hitler, and attributing Eminem's success to his racial heritage. Eminem's statements went on to say that unveiling the tape was really nothing more than a blatant self-promotion for a failing magazine and one man's lifeless music career. Regarding the Source, M says they're scared of what can happen if the hip-hop community shows it could live without them. Now, you can say that Benzino is a hater, but that doesn't discount what he says about Eminem as being truth. And as the article stresses, I'm going to give the brother his props for being one of the first and only people in hip-hop at that time to stand up and question racist and monopolistic practices in hip-hop. And those discoveries vindicate his beliefs. The Source magazine co-founder and rapper Benzino unveiled what he perceived to be a smoking gun, showing M was destructive to hip-hop culture. In The Real Slim Shady, the Source's editor-in-chief, Kim Osorio, provides an in-depth investigation into the story behind Eminem's racist recordings and his life before he was famous. Until recently, Osorio writes, Eminem has seemed very careful about his place as a white rapper in a predominantly African American and Latino hip-hop culture. The Source's investigation reveals, however, that the perception of Eminem as being sensitive and truly committed to hip-hop culture and the inner-city communities from where it came may be far from the reality. Eminem's early collaborators aren't afraid to talk to the Source, and the story that emerges is a far cry from what you'll see in his Academy Award-winning movie 8 Mile. As the Source editor-in-chief Kim Osorio notes in the cover story on Eminem, Eminem's early collaborators weren't afraid to talk to the Source. Between 1988 and 1993, Eminem formed an all-white rap collaborative known as Basement Productions. On tracks recorded in 1993 by Eminem's four-man all-white rap crew under the title The Racist Rap Hour with Basement Productions, with the Eminem's four-man all-white collective known as Basement Productions, and leaked to the Source by three white hip-hop fans from Detroit who were associates of Eminem in from the early 90s, Eminem calls black women dumb chicks and opposes dating black women because I don't like that nigger shit. On a third song, newly discovered by the Source, Eminem calls black people moon crickets, spear chuckers, and porch monkeys. Fellow MC Eminem's rhyming partner in Basement Productions, white MC Chaos Kid, provided the Source with an exclusive interview. He describes firsthand how these recordings were made and why he didn't participate, saying, I refused to even get on it. I didn't feel comfortable about being a part of it, so I didn't rap on it. Chaos Kid says Eminem tried to cover up other racist recordings held by brothers DJ Butterfingers and Mannix. Both are other members of Basement Productions, which have yet to surface. Chaos Kid says, to me, he's reached a point where he's put the dollar before his conscience, and unfortunately, it is going to be his downfall. Brothers DJ Butterfingers and Mannix, both part of Basement Productions, have much more unreleased Eminem material. Chaos Kid said Eminem asked Mannix to destroy it. And these tracks were leaked to the Source by three white hip-hop fans from Detroit who were associates of Eminem in the early 90s. So this isn't something made up by mere haters. Eminem hid his racist tracks from his first black producer and record label owner, Champtown, who was responsible for introducing Eminem to Detroit's black hip-hop community and who helped shape him to be the superstar that he is today. Champtown was shocked to hear some of Eminem's racist tracks for the first time in 2000. And here are his statements. I definitely heard some tapes with Slim using words like moon crickets and shit like that on it. And there was spear chucker on it and porch monkeys, said Champtown. Now remember, this is the excuse he gave for the racist lyrics in Foolish Pride. The tape they played today was something I made out of anger, stupidity, and frustration when I was a teenager. I had just broken up with my girlfriend who was African American, and I reacted like the stupid, angry kid I was. I hope people will take it for the foolishness that it was, not for what somebody is trying to make it into today. But Champtown and Eminem's older friends dispute Eminem's claims that his breakup with an African American girlfriend is what caused him to record Foolish Pride. Champtown replied, I don't believe it. He was with Kim for the whole time that I knew him. I never knew him to date any black women. Chaos Kid doesn't remember his black girlfriend either. He replies, the whole story about him going out with a black girl, I don't know.
I'm Chuck D from Public Enemy, and this is the untold story of Detroit hip-hop. It's amazing how it works. Detroit, one of the blackest cities in America, 85% black, but also known as the white rap capital of the world. How does the biggest rap acts such as Kid Rock, Eminem, and ICP sit on top of all the very talented black artists in the city and its hip-hop history? Because each of these artists had help from black artists, and somebody refuses to tell the truth, or something or somebody pulls them in. Now the truth will be told. What really happened and what is still happening in the rap city of Detroit. Groundbreaking, never seen before Eminem footage. He said Eminem. And by the way, there are no trailer parks in the city of Detroit. Rap battles? It is said that rapping for a crowd of blacks trying not to get booed is not battling. Exclusive footage, one of Proof's last camera interviews. Once and for all, for the first time ever told, hear what happened the night Proof got killed from the person he was with when the shooting happened.
A lot of people know that I was there the night Proof was killed. Like, this is my dog. We was running heavy.
$50,000 24-karat gold casket signed off the freeway after Proof's death. But was Proof paid fairly? We will find out if there's such a thing in his estate or his children and family. Who was really the best friend of Proof? Grammy Award-winning producer DJ Head produced mega hits for Eminem, and even the classic track for Eminem and Jay-Z, Renegades. Who stole credit for the Renegades track? Hear how the powers that be will give you drum programming credit for a record that you produced. Plus, the jaw-dropping interview from Detroit hip-hop staple Champtown that Barbara Walters would die for.
I mean, I find it very hard to believe that Eminem is talking about punching me on a record.
Even came to your funeral, he betrayed our team, and if I see him again, I'ma punch him in the fucking face, and that's on Haley J. Whitney Lane, and Elena's name.
This is how it is, and this is how it went down. You know, he just told you all of that backstory on all of those things, and pretty much, you know, we, I think it's like you have to start so far back just to get you up to, you know, what's cracking right now, a lot of things are the way they are. Pretty much, Proof went with D12. He left our group, went with D12, right? That whole thing is a ride, went a ride, ain't shit, ain't nobody getting nothing, him fucking his friends around, it's all fucked up. P says, fuck that, he goes to do his own thing.
Yep.
He's not signed to Shady as a solo artist.
Never was.
Wait, Proof was never
Never.
Never signed to Shady as a solo artist.
Never.
He had to go do his own thing because it just wasn't going to happen in-house. So he went to handle his own business. He got tired of the situation he was in. He came and got his boys again.
Right.
And was like, fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, people don't know that. Just let me interject for 1 second.
Hey,
let me interject for 1 second. You guys know how the official story goes, right? You know, Eminem, Proof, best buddies, you know, all of that.
Hey,
that's the official story, man.
Listen, I'm going to tell you how Hollywood it is. At Proof's funeral, right? At Proof's funeral, they had me and Mud get up to talk. When me and Mud got it, everybody went up there to talk, but when me and Mud got up there, they clapped.
Everybody started clapping like...
Because they knew it was the only 2 real friends he had.
Only 2 real friends he had, man. On some real shit, like, yo boy for real. tell you when you fucking up, stop you when you fucking up, or
they started clapping. We were like, wow.
Clapping and crying, actually.
This is a funeral.
Wow.
Yeah, powerful stuff, man.
Now let me tell you how Hollywood it is. Let me tell you how Hollywood it is.
Tell me.
These crazy niggas gave him an achievement award.
A plaque.
A plaque at a funeral. I wanted to get up there and slap the shit out of these motherfuckers, man. I'm like, dude, my man
Wait. I didn't hear you right. You said they gave him a plaque at the funeral?
You heard
it right. They gave him an achievement award for some bullshit. I'm standing there staring at him like, this shit is gonna go Hollywood while my man is in this box.
Non-stop action. Non-stop.
My man is in this box, never for me to see him again.
And M getting awards.
Eminem getting
an award in this
award.
What's the good word?
They gave this guy an award. I'm like, you know what? The man, I usually wouldn't say no shit like this, but I'm like, the man strikes again.
Now, when this was exposed, he didn't deny the tracks, but he gave an explanation or excuse. At first, Eminem's response to the humiliating and professionally damaging revelation was to impugn the credibility of those who released the tape. Over the years, Eminem has offered a few of his own criticisms of the source, complaining that he is unable to get a judicious review in the hip-hop periodical, because we dope as fuck and only get a 2 in the source. In What You Say, The Eminem Show, Eminem maintains that if he ever received the full 5 mics in the publication's rating system, he would die of incredulity, but he is not holding his breath. In answer to the release of the scandalous recording, Mathers issued a press release explaining the circumstances under which he had made the recording and asking for his audience's understanding. But his initial response statement didn't include the words, "I'm sorry," which should have been said to the hip-hop community off the bat. But here's his second response or explanation. So while I think common sense tells you not to judge a man by what he may have said when he was a boy, I will say it straight up. I am sorry. I said those things when I was 16. And I don't want to let anybody turn this into an opportunity to promote their own bullshit agenda. Okay. Even if he formed his crew in 1988, the Basement tapes were recorded in 1993, which did not just include Foolish Pride. And Eminem was born in 1972, which meant that he turned 21 that year. Now, we're always changing and growing as people, but at age 21, I pretty much knew what direction my thoughts and opinions would be headed in. I mean, at 18, I was writing letters of protest and going to see Farrakhan speak. Now, these were recordings, so obviously these lyrics meant something to him. Now, if Eminem were truly sorry for making such tracks in the day, then when he became famous or supposedly matured, he would have made mention to how he felt in the past about those who birthed rap, black people. He would have done this out of true respect. Instead, he just hoped that he wouldn't get caught and exposed. And I remember hearing in an interview with him, before the racist tracks were exposed, how he would never use the N-word, as if he had never used it before. I call that lying, deceit. I'd believe Michael Richards' apology before his. In Thursday's page-long statement, Eminem said the tape in no way represents who I was then or who I am today. In becoming an adult, I've seen what hip-hop and rap music can do to touch millions of people. The music can be truly powerful, and it has helped improve race relations in a very real way. I want to use this negative attack on me as a positive opportunity to show that.
Recently divorced from Eminem for the second time, Kim Mathers sat down exclusively with 2020 to set the record straight on her wild bad girl image and her near 20-year love-hate relationship with Eminem.
It just seems like ever since he's got, famous, blew up, our relationship went downhill from there, he became arrogant and cocky, and everything that he did for me or the kids, he has to be praised for, you know. And, you know, he's so used to getting so much attention and people praising him for his work that he expects that when he comes home, and it's not the same. I don't look at him like that, you know. I'm not putting you up on a pedestal. You're not that person to me, you know. And that's what he wants all the time, and it didn't work out. I mean, money doesn't put somebody in bed next to me to hold on to at night, you know.
Do you think the affairs that you had to do more with the loneliness, or in some ways of getting back at him for not being there?
I just really wanted attention and love from somebody, you know. I was lonely and I didn't have very good self-esteem, you know.
But a lot of people have affairs to get back at their lovers.
Well, I'm sure that had something to do with it too.
For
it's
you.
Probably everything. We both had our moments of infidelity. I can't even count on one hand, you know, both hands how many times he's done it. But I'm not out there, you know, publicly humiliating him and putting all of his faults out there for the whole world to, you know, criticize him over. I was embarrassed. I was humiliated. I cried. You know, I have to make sure that my kids don't hear it. And then I always just wonder what people think of me, you know. You know, it's not a good feeling.
What made you cry?
Just the lyrics and the fact that he would, he is supposed to be the man that loves me and is supposed to protect me, you know, from being hurt. And here he is completely and totally disrespecting me in the worst way possible in front of millions of people. And in front of our kids, my family, my friends. And now it just makes me angry because of what everyone thinks of me, and the fact that now I realize, you know, there must not have been much love there, you know, for him to do that. And I wasted so many years thinking there was. I had went with my sister and some friends and had asked him before we went to the show if he was going to perform that song. And he said no. He said no because I know that you're going to be there and I wouldn't do that to you. And I was there in the middle section on the main floor, and sure enough, he decided to do that song and not only perform the song, but use blow-up dolls to reenact like me being choked and just disrespectful things to the blow-up doll, and then threw the doll into the crowd. Like, for him to do that in front of thousands upon thousands of people, knowing that I'm out there and just watching everybody else sing the words and laughing and jumping around in like approval of I couldn't take it. I don't know. That's complete spite. I mean, especially knowing that you're going to be sitting, you know, in the front row right there. And I immediately left after that. You know, I got into a car accident on the way home. I was so upset. And I made it home, and I could not gather my senses. And I went upstairs in my bathroom and I slit my wrist and ended up in the hospital. Especially their father, you know, somebody who is supposed to teach them respect and I don't know, I don't appreciate what he's written in the songs about me. I don't appreciate them being played around our children, and I'm sure it doesn't set a good example for him, especially, you know, letting them believe that it's okay for a man to disrespect you like that in any way is not acceptable to me.
What was the second wedding like?
It was rushed, and I didn't want to get married. He had said pick a date, and I said, well, let's wait a while. And he basically said, you know, you either know now and we can set the date, or, you know, you can just take your stuff and go, because if you don't know right now that you still want to be with me, then you're never going to know.
So you got married for the second time.
Yeah.
Lovely candles and flowers.
It was a beautiful wedding.
Describe it for me.
I had the big dress, and all of our family and friends, and the kids read, and they were all beautiful. I mean, he had our kids read at the wedding, you know. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
But shortly thereafter, things went wrong.
Yeah, he left our home February 25th. He actually physically left the home.
What happened?
There was a disagreement between me and his brother.
About what?
Inappropriate behavior that his brother had, yes, and that's what it was. And then the next morning, there was a note in the bathroom that said, I'm going to the other house, I need to clear my head. I'm so confused about the whole thing.
It's baffling to me.
It's baffling to me, too. He didn't even come around for a month after that. Like, he didn't come see the kids, he wasn't calling me, he didn't return phone calls. I didn't know what the heck was going on. And then his attorney's assistant comes to the door and serves me papers.
Did he break your heart?
Yeah, this time he did.
How did he do that?
Because I feel like he just used me this time. He used me, and He didn't just hurt me this time. He had our kids read at our wedding. And then, 40 days after our marriage, he walked out because of an argument with his brother. We've made it through me being incarcerated, rehabs, different boyfriends and girlfriends, and an argument with his brother was enough to leave. There has to be something else going on. I just don't know what it is.
You did this to us! You did it! It's your fault!
Satan is using Eminem to fill the young people with songs like Kim, about his wife and about Eminem slitting her throat. At the end of the song, you hear her gurgling through her blood, and then you hear what appears to be a trunk slamming.
You were supposed to love me! Now bleed, bleed! Bleed, bleed!
And yet another song which is supposed to be the sequel to Kim, Eminem uses baby talk to manipulate his little girl into helping him dump the body of her dead mother into a lake from a pier.
That's why you can't get it away. But don't worry, Daddy made a nice bed for Mommy at the bottom of the lake. Here, you wanna help Dad tie a rope around this rock? We'll tie it to her footsie, then we'll roll her off the dock. Ready now? Here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Whee! There goes Mama splashing in the water. No more fighting with Dad. No more restraining order. No more stepdad. No more new brother. Blow her kisses bye-bye. Tell Mama you love her.
Eminem admitted, "I'd be lying if I said I didn't think I was a role model to kids." He said that, quote, "Kids look at me like I'm a god." This is evidently true. Within a 24-hour period, Eminem pulled a gun on one man, then later on ended up pistol whipping another man. After he was arrested, a gang calling themselves the South Warren Street Kids wrote a 2-page letter to George Constance, the Warren City attorney. The South Warren Kids threatened to firebomb the city if Eminem was not released immediately. The South Warren Street Kids said that Eminem is our Christ and we party in his name. Rolling Stone magazine said that Eminem's violent acts are a scene worthy of Slim Shady. According to Spin magazine, Slim Shady is a spirit that Eminem made contact with. Apparently, Slim Shady is a spirit that Eminem channels. Eminem says of some of his fans, quote, "They're into hurting themselves. They're cult people, devil worshippers, who say I'm right next to Satan in their thoughts." In Eminem's song Stan, he sings about an impressionable imaginary fan named Stan who apparently is influenced by Eminem's music so much that he ends up murdering his own pregnant girlfriend in a similar way as Eminem does in the song Kim. Stan says, "I know you probably hear this every day, but I'm your biggest fan. My little brother, man, he's only 6 years old. He wants to be just like you. I can relate to what you're saying in your songs. Hey, Slim."
Hey, Slim, that's my girlfriend screaming in the trunk, but I didn't slit her throat, I just tied her up. See, I ain't like you, cause if she suffocates, she'll suffer more, and then she'll die too. Well, gotta go, I'm almost at the bridge now.
After we entered the 21st century, amazingly, Eminem broke the record for first week album sales for any solo artist, selling an incredible 1.76 million albums in just 1 week. Incredibly, only a year after Columbine, he rapped about planning to kill still more children at Columbine, and as a sign of the times, the media, which claimed to lament what happened at Columbine, hyped Eminem. That Eminem would rap such wicked advice to his impressionable fans is unconscionable. Eminem says, quote, "Some people will say stuff just for shock value, but if I'm thinking it, I'm going to say it. I make a lot of my own personal business public." In his song Role Model, Eminem sings the following.
Follow me and do exactly what the song says. Smoke weed, take pills, drop out of school, kill people and drink. Follow me and do exactly what the song says. Smoke weed, take pills, drop out of school, kill people and drink.
Spin magazine stated that Eminem wrestles with the, quote, "ramifications he knows he has on his listeners." In his song I'm Back, he declares, quote, "I take each individual degenerate's head and reach into it just to see if he's influenced by me and if he listens to music. And if he feeds into this blank, he's an innocent victim and becomes a puppet." In the same song, Eminem goes on to declare his desire to go to Columbine and blow more children away. His record label conveniently blanked out the word Columbine to soften the wicked blow.
I take 7 from stand them all in line. Add an AK-47, a revolver, a 9, a Mac 11 in order to solve the problem of mine. And that's a whole school of bullies shot up all at one time.
Eminem said, "Nobody ever looked at it from the effing point of view of the kids, Claypool and Harris. I've been that mad." When dealing with the question of how many young lives are being destroyed as a result of his lyrics, he plays dumb and sings,
I never knew I'd affect this kid. I never knew I'd get him to slit his wrist. I never knew I'd get him to hit this. I never knew I would get this big. I never knew I'd affect this kid. I never knew I'd get him to slit his wrist. I never knew I'd get him to hit this.
On other occasions, Eminem's true colors come out. Eminem admits that many of his rhymes are, quote, intended to push listeners' buttons.
Little kids wanna swear just like me and run around screaming, I don't care, just bite me. I think I was put here to annoy the world and destroy your little 4-year-old boy or girl.
Okay, so what was going on between you and Eminem, if anything?
Nothing. Look, I talked to him. I, have spoken to him a few times, whatever. But in terms of me having like an intimate relationship with men, I can name them all on one hand, and he ain't on the hand. Less than one hand, okay? He is not on the hand.
Only reason I dissed you in the first place is because you did not see me. Now I'm pissed off. Whatever you prefer to do, and that goes for Nick too, faggot. You think I'm scared of you? You're gonna ruin my career, you better get one. Like I'ma sit and fight with you over some slut bitch cunt that made me put up with a psycho ass over 6 months and only spread her legs to let me hit once.
Nick Cannon says Eminem is a racist punk. With Eminem seemingly more attached to Mariah Carey than her own bra strap, I can't be mad at Nick Cannon for defending his wife. On the track Bagpipes for Baghdad, Eminem pretends it's still 2001 and takes shots at both Mariah and her husband. Though Mimi herself hasn't responded, her husband has hit back at Slim Shady. On his blog, Nick pointed out how some forget Mariah has the same racial makeup as Barack Obama and proceeded to accuse M of being both a punk and a racist. Calling my wife a cunt and a whore is way worse than anything Don Imus could have ever said. So trust, repercussions will be served. Anybody got Al Sharpton's number? LOL. Let's not forget about Eminem's amateur mixtape rants of calling African Americans niggers and how he hates black bitches. How did we let him get away with that in the first place? He is a natural-born racist in disguise. Someone tell this coward that he finally barked up the wrong tree. For his entire career, he strategically only tried to beef with people he could bully. I mean, what real man picks fights with women? Real MCs battle other real MCs. Ask Nas, ask Jay-Z. You didn't see them starting beefs with women. That is truly some punk shit. My thing is, we know what Nick has been up to, and Mariah moved on a long time ago. So why hasn't Eminem? Now remember, Eminem says regarding his racist tracks, in no way do the tracks represent who I was then or who I am today. Now, this fool's known for dissing pop stars, young pop stars, as well as the mother of his own children and even his own mother. Yet we're supposed to believe that he's matured when it comes to black people. He was an asshole in 1993, and he was an asshole when he entered the scene in the millennium, and he is more than likely still an asshole today. Dude's nearly 40, still starting shit with pop stars and young artists. But he's matured? Now, he's got people calling brother Nick Cannon all kinds of bitches and shit simply for defending his woman, unlike his true bitch ass who whines about murdering his baby's mother. And he has kids straight disrespecting a balladeer, Mariah Carey, who's been out much longer than he, like she's Britney Spears or just another talentless bimbo in the industry. How are we even allowing that shit? He's supposed to have been shut down. Now, it makes me wonder if the only reason blacks allowed him to get away with what he said in foolish pride was the fact that he was talking about black women, who many, even in our own community, don't seem to really care about much today. And they probably agree with his lyrics on black chicks being gold diggers and bitches. And I've noticed that this is the song that they will allow to be exposed to the public. Because even if a bad relationship with a black girl was the inspiration for his racist lyrics and foolish pride, in a third song discovered by The Source, Eminem calls black people, not just black females, moon crickets, spirit chuckers, and porch monkeys. But they will not allow for that to be exposed. The Source deciding to expose this led Eminem to taking this to federal court to try to prevent the Source's complete investigative package from reaching the hands of the public. As the independent voice of hip-hop at that time, the Source persevered and a federal judge agreed, ruling that it is the Source's right to publish the materials, including excerpts of several racist tracks recorded by Eminem in 1993. Eminem sued The Source for defamation and copyright infringement. The federal courts allowed an injunction to distribute a minimal amount of lyrics of the alleged tape. The Source ignored the injunction and went forth to publish the entire lyrics on its website and in its magazine. By ignoring the injunction, The Source was found in contempt of court and were forced to pay Eminem and his label Shady Records a considerable sum in compensation. In 2005, lawyers for Eminem were preparing for trial over copyright infringement, but abruptly withdrew, stating that the rapper's issue with The Source was done, and there's nothing from the magazine. Mays and Benzino both countered the withdrawal of the lawsuit, calling it a cowardly move. Whatever the motives behind Benzino's revelation, the rap community promptly began to debate whether Eminem's youthful rhymes reflected his true personality. The tapes of the racist rap songs are often discussed, but rarely do we go into details with the facts. Let's not forget that this fiasco was so big that it culminated in the destruction of hip-hop's most popular magazine and numerous court cases and lawsuits brought on by lawyers for Interscope. Editor Jerry Barrow weighs in with an essay on rape. Hip-hop players from Irv Gotti to Suge Knight to Crazy Legs speak their mind on the controversy, and Benzino asserts that The Source is the last line of defense against the forces that will destroy hip-hop. Greedy record labels, mainstream media with a double standard towards race, and rappers like Eminem who threaten to completely co-opt an African-American art form. Benzino's statements are backed up in The Making of a Hip-Hop Monopoly, which outlines exactly how, with a detailed diagram, corporate control of radio, retail, distribution, and a concentration of major recording artists under one record label, Interscope. Has marginalized independent artists and stolen hip-hop from the Black and Latino communities that gave birth to it. The power of Interscope to bias the media and influence recording artists is further demonstrated by Russell Simmons' reaction to the release of the racist tracks in Politics as Usual. Members of the Detroit's hip-hop community view Eminem's management as racist. Of Paul Rosenberg, who has managed Eminem since 1998, Champtown says, "I feel that Paul Rosenberg is prejudiced. I heard from inside the camp about how blacks are being underpaid. I know who introduced Rosenberg to Eminem, and he is no longer on the map. He was fired. He was the last black survivor with any authority in the camp, and he was fired recently." Now, listen to this. 50 Cent thinks no black artist is ever gonna sell like Eminem. 50 may have had second thoughts on his tweet, but deep down, we know he meant what he said. Check out this excerpt from XXL magazine where 50 compares Eminem to a certain somebody. "Eminem is Elvis Presley. I'm just James Brown, just the hardest working man in show business. He's a whole other animal. He's like the Air Jordan to basketball. You got a lot of great players, but their brands haven't grown to the point where Air Jordan's brand is growing. Like, it's not even when you match artists up that only sold 80 million records less than him. You can do the concert thing, but don't get it fucked up." VH1 specials, MTV, and 8 Mile would have you believe that Eminem grew up in one of Detroit's poor black neighborhoods. The reality is Eminem went to Lincoln High School, a predominantly white school in Warren, Michigan, that was known as Warren-Tucky for its reputation as a hotbed of racism. And you know, I don't doubt this for 1 minute, because Eminem used racist terms such as spear chucker and moon cricket. I mean, these are original, like old school racist terms that even many black people today aren't aware of. So obviously he derives from a racist environment. I'm talking family. Just like when Justin Timberlake made that comment about the black athlete who was injured, joking about how he'd be back shucking and jiving in no time. That told me right then and there that Justin came from a racist environment. And I do believe he is from the South. And I don't see an admiration for black culture as many of y'all are fooled into believing. I see Justin and Eminem as only using black music and black culture and black fools who they are deep down jealous of. I see two white guys who are actually jealous and intimidated by black men. So what they do is watch them closely, study them in hopes of mastering their craft, get close to them so that they can fit in and get in with them. And then once that black fool gives them that exposure and cred, thinking Dre and Champtown, those white leeches dominate them. This isn't about M's love for black culture and black music. Same for Timberlake. Let's see if you can pick up the real message in his so-called apology song, Yellow Brick Road.
Come on, let's cut the bullshitting off. Let's get it started. Let's start addressing this issue and open it up. Let's take the shit back to the basement and we can discuss statements that's made on this tape and its whole origin of the music that we all know and love, the music we all enjoy, the music you accuse me of trying to destroy. Let's rewind it to '89 when I was a boy on the east side of Detroit, crossing 8 Mile and Warren in the hit territory. I like to share a story. This is my story and can't nobody tell it for me. Do it well inform me. I'm well aware that I don't belong here. You made that perfectly clear. I get my ass kicked damn near everywhere, from Bel Air Shopping Center just for stopping in there, from the black side all the way to the white side. Okay, there's a bright side, a day that I might slide. You may call it a pass, I call it hauling my ass through that patch of grass over them railroad tracks. Oh, them railroad tracks, them old railroad tracks, them good old notorious, so well-known tracks. We just threw them in the trash like they're yesterday's news. Guess who came through next? X-Clan debuted, Professor X and Glorious. Exists in a state of red, black, and green with a key. Sissies. Now with this being the new trend, we don't fit in. Crackers is out with cactus albums. Blackness is in. African symbols and medallions represent black power, and we ain't know what it meant. Me and my man Howard and Butter would go to the mall with them all over our necks like we're showing them off, not knowing at all we was being laughed at. You ain't even half black, you ain't supposed to have that. Homie, let me grab that, and that Flavor Flav clock, we gon' have to snatch that. All I remember is meeting back at Mannix's basement, saying how we hate this, how racist but dope the X-Clan's tape is. Mannix's basement, saying how we hate this, how racist but dope the X-Clan's tape is. Which reminds me, back in '89, me and Kim broke up for the first time. She was trying to two-time me, and there was this black girl at our school who thought I was cool cause I rapped, so she was kinda eyeing me. And oh, the irony, guess what her name was? Ain't even gonna say it. Plus, the same color hair as hers was, and blue contacts, and a pair of jugs. The bomb is goddamn girl in our whole school. If I could pull it, not only would I become more popular, but I would be able to piss him off at the same time. But it backfired. I was supposed to dump her, but she dumped me for this black guy, and that's the last I ever seen or heard or spoke to the old foolish pride girl. But I've heard people say they heard the tape, and it ain't that bad, but it was. I singled out a whole race, and for that I apologize. I was wrong, cause no matter what color a girl is, she's still a soul. Let's go. foolish pride girl, but I've heard people say they heard the tape and it ain't that bad, but it was. I singled out a whole race, and for that I apologize. I was wrong, cause no matter what color a girl is, she's still a soul. Let's go back, follow the yellow brick road.
After listening to Yellow Brick Road and examining him, in my opinion, he felt intimidated by pro-black groups like X-Clan, and he didn't like this whole black pride movement in rap because he didn't feel included, plain and simple. And he didn't like the fact that this movement in rap was waking us up and exposing the truth. The truth about blacks needing to wake up, becoming more independent, and not to be afraid to confront racist bullshit, which included him. And he knew this deep down. Moon crickets, porch monkeys. How many times did he hear the word nigger in his household growing up? If he weren't famous, he'd probably be one of those internet thugs up in here going into black videos talking about how much he hate niggers right after he listens to rap music and watch rap videos. I know the type. They don't call his ass shady for nothing. It's the truth that actually hurted him. And he obviously saw black pride itself as foolish pride. Check the title of the song. So he tries to flip it as just being black racism towards whites. You see, using that whole, playing on that whole reverse racism thing. You see what I'm saying? Yellow Brick Road is not an apology to blacks, but a plea to white people for understanding and support. If we're playing the race card, they're playing the reverse racism card, if you know what I'm saying. You see how quick he was to diss Lauryn Hill, going as far as calling her a dirty word? Now, he could have just kept that shit to himself out of respect for the black community, who greatly respected her, since he's profiting off of black culture. And check out what he says about the late C. Dolores Tucker, who was an activist during the civil rights movement. Tell that C. Dolores Tucker slut to suck a dick. Now, even though she targeted whom and what she saw as negative in rap music, do you think that Pac would go as far as telling this prominent black woman and activist to suck a dick? And his diss lyrics against black women, in my opinion, sounds like the whining of a hurt widow boy who's always rejected by black women. Or perhaps his diss lyrics towards black women was an answer to Baby Got Back. You know, the lyrics where Eminem's dissing a sister's backside, talking about he don't go for that nigger shit in regards to a black woman's behind. Or when you think of Ice Cube's Cave Bitches, is that his like answer to that? And you have to consider what year he recorded that. You see, whites have taken heat off themselves, always flipping shit by playing the reverse racism card. Like when Foolish Pride is questioned, they flip focus by questioning our non-reaction to Ice Cube dissing white women and cave bitches. I can understand white women being pissed, but I ain't white women. They don't give a shit about me, as they didn't give a shit about the many brothers that they caused to be lynched and falsely jailed, as mentioned in Cube's song. So I'm not one for defending white women, okay? But if they get pissed, oh well. Am I telling them to support Ice Cube? Am I making them buy his records? They don't have to support Ice Cube, just as we don't have to support Eminem. But you see, the difference is that Ice Cube didn't back down nor make excuses. And he didn't disrespect white people within white culture. Ice Cube ain't making metal or country songs profiting off white culture while dissing whites. Eminem purposely chose our form of music to speak against us, although he knew that it would be black people who would give him the initial exposure and cred. So yeah, he's gonna get black friends and appear to be down. But deep down, he has a deep-seated envy of brothers and couldn't wait for the chance to outshine them. He couldn't wait for the chance to finally be proclaimed as master of what black men mastered. Deep down, he wanted to be the rapping Elvis. He even said this in his song, declaring himself as the rapping Elvis, because he knew. He wanted to make a point to the brothers and prove that white men can jump. And there's always some black fool to aid them in doing this, even though he ends up becoming way more successful than they. Basically, with whites, It's about their superiority complex. Forever trying to send the message, anything you can do, I can do better. You know, they don't enjoy the music and culture as we do. And he talked about how blacks made fun of him being a white kid wearing African medallions, etc. But he probably wore that stuff only to challenge blacks, basically imitating blacks and how we dressed, etc. back then, testing our reaction so that he can have an excuse to cry racist. Come on, he's wearing African medallions just for fashion. You know, he's not fooling me. Obviously, what he was doing was seen by blacks for what it truly was, mockery. This is about a white kid who was seen as a poor loser to other white kids and ignored by black guys who he deep down envied as being cool. And even if he probably got his ass whooped before by a black guys, remember, they said that the school he went to was predominantly white, and he himself said he had been harassed and bullied by white kids as well. But if he did get jumped by black guys, perhaps this was his way of revenge. But in me knowing my people, more than likely he got his ass whooped for trying to emulate or imitate black dudes to the point of where it appeared as only mockery.
Hardcore, what you ain't know nothing about hardcore.